name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to try to fix up a Milwaukee site radio, a building site radio, one that gets its power from a battery and I think mains as well. It's not working. I bought it 40 off eBay. Let me unpack it just off camera and then we'll bring it over to the blue mat. Let's try and fix it, and also I can show you the listing as well. Now, I've never tried to fix one of these before. I haven't opened one before. Let's just see if a little bit of fault finding skills can get to the bottom of why it's not working. Right, good news. It's not working, which is good. Right, some of you might remember this battery. This is the one that came all the way from Australia that I changed the cells in. It's still not working as a proper battery, but it works fine for outputting 18 volts. So this is a radio that only takes M18 batteries, and if I plug that in there, it's quite a new one. These are still in store now for I think £110, that sort of price. But if I turn it on there, you can see nothing's happening. There's no display, not making any noise. But listen to this. When I plug this in to the mains, it makes like a bit of a clicking noise, which is interesting. Let's see if it will do it. There. Hopefully you can hear that. So let's get straight into it and find out what is wrong with this. Let me show you the eBay listing. I had to pay a stupid amount of money for it. For some reason, broken items are often going for more than working items, which is just absolutely crazy. But I need content for videos. Right, it just says what it is, M18 job site radio, and it said it is faulty. It was working fine until recently when I came to use it, and it no longer turns on. When plugged in, there's a sound of, I assume, a relay clicking and then static buzzing coming from the speakers. The screen doesn't come on and the buttons do nothing. When a battery is plugged in, it does nothing. So, a complete honest listing, and an accurate listing, which is fantastic, because there's nothing worse than buying something like this and then it turns out it's working. So let's see how it's going to come apart. Okay, annoyingly, we're already at our first hurdle. So you can see screws here, 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 and also here, here, and here, and here. But look at the distance, especially these ones here. Look how deep it is. That deep, and annoyingly, they're not crosshead or flat, they're Torx. So basically, if I go to the edge ones here, I can see that these ones are Torx 20. Not sure what these ones that are down here, but it's definitely Torx, because I can shine the light and see them. I haven't got any Torx bits that long. I mean, if you look at the kit here with the extension part, that extension part is going to be too big to go in there. Most things are going to be too big to go in there. So that has already put a major downer, not just on this video, but also for people trying to fix it themselves, because a normal builder type guy that would own one of these will have tools, and they'll probably have some Torx bits and stuff if they like to mess. Especially they might have some for their cars, but they're going to be big sockets. They're not going to be buying specialist Torx screwdrivers that long just to be able to get in here. That's really, really irritating that they've done that. Let's just see if there's anything else we can do, because it looks like I can take off this part here and this part. Maybe I might be lucky and this might give me access to something which has the fault on it. Would I be lucky if under here something's going to slot out, which will give me access to maybe the main power board? No. Okay, is that going to be some sort of, I don't know, would that be for Bluetooth or something like that? Oh, right, okay. USB and some sort of aux headphone jack type thing in there. Right, okay. Annoyingly now, the screw has gone down into the body here, so I've got a rattle. That's annoying. Right, AAA batteries. Let's see what's going on under here. I presume this is just for the memory. Right, let's just see if anything's on the display. No, let's pop the battery in. No, nothing. So those batteries must be just to store the presets. Right, so I have to get this apart somehow. Right, do you know what I think I might do? Now, obviously, if you were working on these all the time, you would just buy an extra long Torx bit, but I'm thinking I very rarely use this one here because for most stuff that I do, it's not normally that wide. Now, I'm using a flat head here and it did bite, but this is a lot thinner than that one. I'm thinking about grinding this one down. It's such a shame to have to ruin a tool, but I'm kind of ruining the tool to make another rubbish tool because obviously I'm relying on it gripping in between the star bits. There we go. So it's a Torx bit. You need a Torx 10 would fit it. Yeah, I'm going to grind this down to make it because I want to look at this today. Right, I'm just going to do this elsewhere so the horrible metal dust doesn't go everywhere. I'm just using the Dremel tool that Sean from Having Fun Repairs sent over before he went back to the States. And before in my life, I didn't really need a Dremel tool, but now that I've got it, this comes in handy for so many things. And the fact it's cordless as well. I know it's not a hardship having a lead, it's just that it does make it easier. So yeah, it's being used again, which is good. Just going to use some eye protection. Right, so I've taken a little notch out of each side of that now. And it fits nicely. Let's see if it's going to snap straight off. I'm hoping the strength's still there because I've only done a little bit out of the sides. Come on now. Oh yes, nice and easy. Excellent. Now I know you shouldn't damage your tools, but all I'm really doing is exchanging something that's not used very often into this. It saves me buying one.
Now, is there a better time to shout out than my mate Vince Massive? I think not. This month they consist of kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, the one who sent the Dremel, Ellensburg Amplifier Repair and Service, Will Michaelis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, King Hurd from Lowbook Auto Sales, DJVG, Robert from Timsy's Auto Air. He sent me the battery that I'm using in this video, the M18 battery. And Albert at www.faroutsounds.co.uk and Stuart Park. Massive thanks, guys.
Now, if I can get this working, I already know who's going to want it, because I was asked by a friend whether or not I still had the Makita radios that were fixed in a different video. Ooh, a little bit of water damage. A little bit. And there you go, look, January 2018 that these end panels were made, but as I say, these are still for sale now. So for this you need a stubby screwdriver, or I'll tell you what I'm going to use. Everything's coming out today. I must say, so far this is one of the most least repairable items. I reckon I'm going to be rewarded with a nice easy fault on the inside. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're in. We are in. Okay, now I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful. Oh, wow, look at that. A big old-fashioned transformer. Fantastic. So it's not a switch mode power supply. It'll be unlikely that that's failed. Right now, how am I going to... So I just have to undo these here. Just going to take a picture. They're probably idiot proof, but just in case they're not. Okay, and lastly we have the aerial. Is there an easy way to undo that or not? There's lots of shield in here, isn't there, to stop interference? No, that's not going to be easy to undo at all. Can I take that board off? Yeah, it looks like it's like a pin header, you know, where you just lift it up. Excellent. Okay, we are soldered to the board there. I'm just going to make a note of which pin it's on, just in case it's important. You can see here a tiny little, so they're like the pin header things. Here, they just go into the board, but look, can you see it's soldered there? And it's soldered on pin 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's unsolder that. Okay, while the soldering iron is heated up, let's just double check, make sure it's not anything to do with the speakers. It's obviously there's no display, but just in case there's other faults as well. So let's go to ohms. And it says here that these are 12 ohm speakers. Let's see if that's what they're reading. Yeah, 12 ohms, and you see there 12 ohms. Let's do this one here. Yeah, 12 ohms. There we go. Now, is it a problem with this side here? I can see a rusty screw, so water's definitely made its way right the way in here. You see there? Or is it a problem? Feels loose. Or is it a problem with the power supply? I think the fact that it's not working on battery or mains makes me think it's a power related issue. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of what's going on. So we've got the mains cable coming in here, and then we've got the so from the mains it must go to here, and then it goes through the transformer to knock it down to low voltage. So I presume those blue ones there are going to be the low voltage, but don't really know. Then we've got something going off to the batteries here, and also, oh, here we go, these two wires here are feeding from the actual battery here. So if we were to pull that out, I wonder if this is fuse related. If we pull this out and then put our 18 volt battery back in here, we should now have voltage on these two pins. Let's just double check that. 19 volts. Fine, I think we need to get this board out. Okay, we are free. Now, what is this capacitor? Oh, it's 35 volts, that's fine. Let's just see if there is any voltage in here. So this should be completely safe to work on. Yeah, that's okay, less than a volt. Anything else I need to worry about? So the AC comes in. So is it rectified then before it goes into the transformer? No, I don't know. Right, that looks like a fuse. And there you go, it's marked up SF2. So it's T3, so it's a 3.15 amps. Should we see if the fuse has blown? So we're in continuity mode. And the fuse goes from here to here. No, the fuse is okay. Interesting. Right, so that's like the higher voltage, or the high voltage side from the mains coming in, and this is a low voltage side. Oh, we got another fuse this side here. Oh, I suppose it's because it's taking inputs from both sides, the 19 volts and the 18 volts from the battery and also the mains. Let's see if this fuse has gone. No. Right, I'm thinking that we should connect up the 19 volt battery and see what we have, because this is the only connector. Well, let's use the negative of the capacitor as our ground, because that's all on the same side, the lower voltage side. Now let's go across. Let's go across here, see if we have anything. There we go, 19 volts. Yeah, we've got 19 volts on that pin here. This pin here, so we've definitely got 19 volts. Ah, here we go. Let's zoom in on here, we've got a bit of damage there. Maybe that's the problem. I'm just going to unplug the battery. Right, so let's zoom in here. So So that's the 19 volts coming up this wire at the end. No, that's just nicked the outside of it, hasn't it? Yeah, there's no damage there. Well, there's damage, but it's just, it hasn't gone through. I think it's because this bit was folded back. So I think it's just rubbed against something. Right, let's check for continuity then. So we know when the battery's plugged in, we've got 19 volts there. So let's check for continuity between that pin there and the edge here. So we should have it here. And here, which we do. So we've definitely got voltage travelling up into this front board. I think we should turn our attention to the front board. Obviously I haven't checked the mains because that's going to be more dangerous to work on. Let's see what's going on here. Ah, right, we have to undo that. There we go. Are we free? Nearly. So this is where the speakers are connected. Right, we definitely got a bit of corrosion in there. I wonder, is this going to be water related? Right, so where is our power coming up to? Power's the biggest connector, which is going to be this one here. Yeah, and it's labelled up there, plus 17 volts, plus 18 volts. So should we trace it from there, see where it goes to? It goes to here, even though there's a massive hole in it. Okay, it goes through there. So it's going to come up. Ah, look at the pins here. They look slightly corroded, don't they? Can you see? Especially the 19 volt pin. Look at that one. Or the 18 volt. Yeah, I'm wondering now if it's water damage. Because these look nice and clean, these ones don't. Anyway, let's get back to here. Where are we? 18 volts. So it's this one here, and it goes to there and here. Now, where does it go to from there? Is it feeding that leg here? Yes, it is. So it's feeding this leg here. I think, before we take it any further, it does look like some kind of voltage regulator, doesn't it? To maybe knock it down to 5 volts to feed the board. Let's clean it first. I'll tell you what, before that, should we prove before? Should we put 19 volts into it and see if we're getting a reading on the actual back of this connector here, on that leg of that, I'm going to call it a voltage regulator. Okay, so now let's see what we got going on here. 19 volts, so we've definitely got 19 volts there. Right, let's see now if it's travelling into the board. So I'm going to take a different ground now, here, and I'm going to go onto here. Right, so we've got 19 volts there. Do we have anything coming out of this thing? 18 volts. What about the middle pin? 5 volts. This is working. We've got 5 volts going into the board. So I need to follow this 5-volt line now and see where we end up. Let's try to turn it on now. Ooh, I'm not confident now of fixing it. I thought it was going to be a power issue here. I hope it's not a chip issue. Well, let's disconnect it for the time being because we know we've got power going into this board. Let's visually see if there's anything wrong with it. It definitely looks damaged here, doesn't it? But we've got voltage going past that area. Water's gotten up here as well. Oh, this is just the LED board here. So we'd still get sound or something happening, not that clicking noise, if the LEDs had failed. That'd be just for the backlight. Right, I think what I should do is I think I should clean it, just in case some of these other pins are enables and they need to go back in order to liven up something else, because all we've done is physically measure voltage in, but maybe the chips don't get enabled unless something on the other board tells them to be enabled. And maybe, for example, if they were going down this pin here, which is the plus 3 volts, I mean, this is really blackened, this pin. I mean, if you look at that compared to the others. So I'm going to get some IPA and I'm going to clean these connectors here. And also the speaker connector, which had the brown stuff on the inside. These ones are fine.
So I gave the pins a good scrape and I cleaned them all with isopropyl alcohol. It didn't make any difference. But I can't really see what's going on under these metal shields. So I take a few of the metal shields off the board so I can have a better look at the components underneath. They just look like massive inductors. We learn a bit more about them in a few minutes in this next bit here. So basically I have been tracing the voltage through on the battery and also the mains, and they both end up at this chip here. So let's pick up the video now while we're tracing it through to the chip.
Right, a few minutes have passed and I was using my eye loop. It's much easier to see when I look through here rather than trying to look through the monitor, which is attached to the camera. So we know that voltage is coming up through here, and if you look at it, it then goes through this capacitor, across here through this capacitor, so it ends up in this area. But the mains is also coming up here, but it bypasses this. It goes up the side here onto this rail here. It's hard to see, but this bit here is actually different from here. These are not together. There's a separation there. So if you listen, if I put my meter here, can you see it goes through the diode and ends up here, yeah? So that's going to go through here. But look, it also ends up here on this one here. This one here is a ground because this is attached to the negative of the capacitors, but it comes up on pin 3 and goes up here. Now look, these capacitors were done in. They're done in because this is the main voltage coming in, and then from here they go into what looks like the first 2 pins off that chip there. So I've looked up this chip. It says TP3130, and Look at it here. It is a 15 watt stereo or 13 watt mono, 4.5 to 26 volt supply, so it takes a big range of inputs. Analog input Class D audio amplifier with filter free, Class D. So one of my massive members has a YouTube channel all about amplifiers called Ellensburg Amplifier Repair and Service. So as soon as I seen Class D there, it reminded me instantly of Todd's videos. So yeah, basically I'm looking up the data sheet of this one here, and if I go into the data sheet, you can see here, I've only just started this now, but basically, can you see here the outputs? It says LC filter and then the speakers. Yeah, and then we have the 4.5 to 26 volt power supply going into it here. So these ones here are the output for the speakers. And sure enough, if we go here onto continuity again, so these are the filters that are feeding the speakers. Because watch, if I go onto this pin here, you can see it comes up here, but nowhere else. Next one comes up here. Next one comes up here. And next one comes up here. So these might have been just shielded to stop kind of like a noise affecting the sound. It does look like it's fairly well made. Don't know why I've got two screws there. So yeah, that's as far as I got now. So what I now need to do is I need to look into this chip more to see if we can find out, you know, is any signals or anything coming out of it? Where do they go to then? You know, does it then from here go to here? Because right now the display's not doing anything. In fact, this isn't doing anything. So maybe this chip here is blown, is what I'm thinking. But I want to check out to see if I can find out exactly what pin does what. Because at the moment, this is just like a simplified circuit. I want the actual pin out. So I need to find out if I can get the pin out for it. So yeah, when I've got more info, I'll start filming again. Well, I've just taken this out of the actual case to make it easier for me to clip my battery into. I'm just going through the chips. So I've just typed in this chip here. And this is a 4-channel output stereo audio processor with 4 stereo inputs and tone volume control. So it looks like this is to do with the volume and also the aux in. So, again, it could be faulty, but this issue at the moment is a no power fault. So, if that's to do with the amplification, and that's to do with the volume and the inputs, I'm going to look up this one here, see what that one does. Because I don't think either of those are going to be faulty. Right, now, this chip here is this one here. And it is a CMOS single chip 8-bit MCU with 12-bit AD converter. Don't know what any of that means, but it does say, there you go, 8-bit microcontroller with a high-speed 8051 CPU. I reckon this is the thing that controls the screen and everything. I bet you this isn't getting any voltage. I bet this is the brain here. So I'm going to see if I can get a data sheet for this and then see if I can find out where the voltage pins go into it, see if it's getting the voltage. Well, I found a data sheet for it, but there's 214 pages. It's going on about how to debug it, how to program it. There's everything on here. But anyway, I'm not going to get too involved in that. But look, there is a pin out here. Right, and that's 20 pins. Let me just count how many pins are on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. Okay, so it's 20 pins. So if you have a look here, we've got VDD here and VSS. So let's just make sure. Let's just I'm just going to unplug the battery for a minute. Let's just make sure that that is ground. Make sure we have it the right way round. So ground should be on this one here, which it is, and not here. Let's see if we have any voltage coming into this. .7. 2.7, is that a little low? Let me see if I can find out from here what the input voltage is. Yeah, look, operating voltage 1.8 to 5.5, 2.7 to 5.5. So what was I getting? 2.8 falls within those ranges, doesn't it? Maybe not this one here, but that's just a different frequency. It doesn't mean that's the frequency of this one. I don't think it's any of the chips. This is a real, honestly, this is something to test me. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I can't see anything obvious that's damaged, even though there's plenty of little bits of corrosion. And yet we've got nothing. We've got no display here at all. I mean, I'm hoping we haven't got multiple faults. For example, the display's not working and there's something faulty here. But saying that, it should give some kind of hiss or something. Some kind of sound on the speakers when we turn it on. Some little pop. It's not doing any of that. The only thing that's clicking sounds like this big thing here. Right, let's see if we can follow any voltages. So on and off, should we have voltage on the on and off switch? Let's find out. No. 3.3 volts here. 3.3 here. Oh, 9 here. 9 here. Nothing there. 3 volts there. 0.1 there. 0.1 there. Nothing there. Now, are those two chips linked? MC1033, MC1033, they're the same chip. That looks damaged. Compared to that one, look, that's nice and clean, that's horrible. Right, so water went all the way up to here, it looks like. Now, that must be the power side of the capacitor because it's burnt. So now, this 9 volts coming up the middle here. 3.3 here. Is this another little voltage regulator then? I wonder, should 9 volts be? Let's see what this is reading here. I can do it here, can't I? Now, 0.1 of a volt, which is the same as that. 0.1. I wonder, has this thing shorted? Let's kill power by unplugging the battery. They do look like little voltage regulators, don't they? Let's see now if we have a short. So, just go to continuity to begin with. So that's not shorting, that's not shorting, and that's not shorting as far as continuity is concerned. But neither is that. I'm just wondering, we've got different voltages, but yet they're the same thing. I'm going to swap them over and then see whether this is still 9 volts and 3.3. This sounds correct, this side. This doesn't sound correct. I mean, what is this doing? Unless, of course, when you have it on and something else gets livened up, it passes voltage through to here. But if I swap them over and I still have the 9 volts and stuff here, then I know this isn't faulty. If the fault goes over to here, I know that's faulty. That's the only thing I've got to go on. I've got the temperature set to 480 degrees Celsius and the airflow is 5.5 out of a possible 8. Right, okay, they're on. They're not the best, but I just want to see what's going to happen. I can always add some solder to it or straighten this one up afterwards. Okay, so there's still nothing happening there. Let's see if the voltage has changed. .3. Hold on now. Yeah, there you go, 9. Right, and nothing here. 0.4, hold on, the middle one, 0.2. Yeah, it's still warm, so the readings will be different than before. Anyway, this is behaving the same, this side. So that says to me that this isn't faulty. I think I'm going to have to get my eye loop and just start tracing the paths. Maybe I'll start from here because this really doesn't look like it's doing anything. So maybe I'll try to look very closely to see where they go to. That's connected to there, that's not going anywhere, but this one's going to the top of that capacitor, which doesn't look too healthy. So, where does it go to? Oh, then it goes to this capacitor. So let's see if we have any voltage here, or even here, because it looks like it goes down to there, doesn't it? Yes, I've got 15 volts here. So why haven't I got 15 volts here? Aha, this is good. So does that go to here? Yes, 15 volts. Does that go to here? Yes, 15 volts. So why doesn't that go to here? Why doesn't that go to there? Is it going somewhere else? We've got 15 volts at the top of that one there. Surely that has to go to that middle pin. Let's take off these components here so we can have a nice good look at what's happening. Now, that's the ground here, yeah? Here, that should go to there. Have we got a break? Please let me have a break. And I suppose there's a break. There's a break! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Because this is going to be the 15 volts coming into it. So when corrosion hit this area here, when water hit this area here, it burnt through this pin, because this is the highest voltage pin out of them. That's a break there, isn't it? Excellent. Look at that. Yes. Right, okay, so what do we do here? Let's just run a tiny little bit of wire. Let's go a bit further back. No, let's just run a new wire from here to here, and then we can put the leg on. We can put the chip back on then, can't we? So I use a little bit of enamelled wire. This is 0.3 of a millimetre approximately, so about 1/3 of a millimetre. And yeah, I just need to place it between the pads, and that way then we've jumping over the broken trace. I'm just fast forwarding through this bit because this video is starting to get a little bit long, but you can see in this fast forwarded bit that I'm just fixing it up, and then we'll put it into real time again when we're about to test it. Right, there we go. So that's sorted now. So place your bets. Do you think it's going to work? Do you know what? I'm going to say yes, and the reason is because I'm the first one in here. I'm pretty sure of that. And it'd be different if it was like a short somewhere, because then it might have cascaded on and blown other things up. But it's just a trace that's fried itself, as far as I can see, from corrosion. So I actually think this is going to work, and I'm going to be a little bit disappointed if the screen doesn't come to life. Right, it's off at the moment. Let's plug this in. Here goes. Come on now. Oh no, really? Oh, come on, I was sure that was going to do something. Oh, what? Right, let's check for voltages. I was sure that was going to fix it. That's annoying. Let's see now if we have that 15 volts going into this chip. 5 volts. 3.3 out. Okay, 5. See what's happening this side. 9.1. But we've still got a 3.3 out. So now we have got 3.3 coming out that way. 3.3, which we didn't have before. But yet it's still not happy. Why is that? Right, okay, I am going to just look close at the board again using my eye loupe and see if I can see any more corrosion. If we found one that was hidden away, and you could see how hard that was to spot, it was right on the leg, then there could well be more. So I'm just going to be using continuity and going around the place. Right, okay, look, I found another bit. So this was a bit I was working on, and look over here. Can you see here? There's a wire. I'm going to zoom right in on it. It looks to be burnt. So, here. Now, it's hard to show you, but I went to the other side of the board and it's not coming up. But yet the other side of the board looks intact.
So I tried to solder it up, and there's no continuity between the boards. So annoyingly, I have to run a wire right the way round. And guess what? It still doesn't work. The closer I look, the more damage I see in the wires. This board has so many wires. The traces are jumping all over the place. So it will just go along a wire for a few millimeters, go the other side for a few millimeters, go the other side, because it keeps on jumping tracks around the place. So it's a very hard one to repair, because some of these wires look okay until you start looking at them really closely, and then you realize that there's damage in the actual wire. So basically what a wire is, it allows the path from the track on one side to go to the track on another side. So if you can imagine, imagine just like a can of baked beans, and you take the lid off and the bottom off, and then you've just got a tube. Well, put that into the middle of the board, and then you've got a pathway through the board. But of course, if water sits in that can of beans and slowly eats it away, then you've got no path between the board. And that's the exact problem we've got here. There's numerous fires that have gone. Now, I'm going to have to finish up this video soon because it's dragging on and on and on. Basically, I've been on this for hours upon hours upon hours, and all I'm doing is constantly fixing bits of damage that corrosion has caused. So overall, the board looked pretty good, didn't it? It wasn't like all white, it wasn't furry or anything, but yet the closer you look, there's just so much damage on it. So it's not really repairable in an economic sense, but I'm doing this for the video, so nobody in their right mind would sit here for 1.5 days trying to trace everything and fix it. But it will make a more entertaining video if I can get it to work. So I'm trying my very, very, very best to fix everything that I can see. So yeah, through this fast forwarded bit now and all the off-camera work, probably about another 3 hours has gone by. But let's pick up the video again when I've done quite a lot of the repairs off the wires and burnt out tracks.
Well, I'm just going to try it back together. I'll tell you why. I was looking at this connector up the top here because, you know, the display's not working. And some of them look like they're going into this area here with this board. Now, I thought that board was just something to do with Bluetooth, you know, the one I unplugged, the header pins, but I'm not so sure. So let's plug it in now. Am I going to be able to get the speakers in, or should I not worry about them? Let's see if I can get these in or not. I want to try it on the mains. Right, this is a bit of a mangled mess. But I don't think that's going to short on. Right, I'm going to just hold it here. Right, let's plug it in. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 we're here. We're here. Oh, thank God for that. Right, so those header pins are important. Is anything actually going to happen here? No, but yet we have got display. Okay, a lot of time has gone past. I've done the VoIP video around my brother's house in between when you last seen this video and now, and I've spent many, many more hours on this. To begin with, just disconnect that while I'm fiddling about the place, I've had to run jumper wires everywhere. This board didn't look too bad, but it was in all, not all, in a lot of the wires there was corrosion.
So it wasn't making a path through the board. So you can sort of see that I've done a jumper wire here, down here. There's other ones here, underneath here. There's a few dotted around the place. Now, I have made a little bit of progress, but it's not clear. I don't understand that at the moment, so I'll keep it quite brief. Basically, when I plug in the battery like this, nothing happens on the display. The weird thing is that there's kind of, I think there's like enable circuits or feedback circuits that go back into here. So obviously we've got faults on this board. I'm not sure if this board is okay because there's bits of corrosion on this board as well. The battery is behaving different than the mains. You can see now I've got the battery connected. Well, you probably can't because this is in the way, but I've got my battery connected here and nothing's coming up here. If I turn it on, I can see a backlight comes on. But now watch this. If I disconnect the battery, yeah, so this now disconnected, yeah, and if I plug in the mains, making sure I don't put my hands anywhere near here, look what happens. We get the display, and it's the correct time as well. Well, once it syncs up, it's the correct time, yeah. And can you see it's counting along there? 22:57 and 6 seconds, yeah, just here. So it's picking up a signal. And it gets to correct time. But now watch this. You see the flashing lights here? As soon as I go to turn it on, it crashes. It makes a click down here, and now it's not flashing anymore, and the seconds are no longer counting. If I turn it off and back on again, it makes no difference. This clicks, the relay clicks, but yet nothing is happening here. It's just crashed. So then I have to unplug it and then plug it back in again for it to do the same thing again. But it gets even more interesting. I've taken this off because this on and off switch and potentiometer is also causing problems. I can actually get this to turn on, but I can't get any volume out of it. So watch this. If I leave it in the off position, we're still on mains at the moment. If I short this little capacitor, I've been all over this board, there's a little capacitor here. If I short it between ground and the live of the capacitor, it will turn on, because that's basically what you're doing with the on and off switch. We have, when it clicks, it turns the ground here onto this 3.3 volts here. I think it's 3.3 volts. Let me just double check that. Again, keeping my hands well clear of that because we've got mains in there. If we go here, watch, 3.3, yeah? And this one here is ground. So then it goes to this capacitor here, which will also be 3.3 at the bottom there. And then it works its way around into this chip here. Now watch this. If I short the capacitor, you hear it click there, and watch what happens. Ta-da! Smooth connecting, and it will come up with the name of the song, playing, on air now. Yeah, you can see it scrolling along there, and watch this. I can change channel by doing it here, the station list. Yeah? Talk Sport, Absolute, and then it will start playing on that side. So the DAB side of it is working. Is it going to play on this? How do I hit enter? I'm not sure which is enter. There we go, Absolute Radio connecting. Let's see if it connects. Bear in mind I haven't got the aerial in. There you go, through the decades. So that's working. But when I plug the speaker in, as soon as I try to give volume, watch this now, it will see it's moving, and boom, it's locked up again, it's frozen. So every time I do that there, it ruins it. Now, it does also work on battery. So I'm unplugged here, but yet, can you see there's no display? When I plug this in here, there won't be any time display, so that's not working. But if I short the same capacitor, it comes on. But the problem is, that made me think it was just an on and off switch problem, the problem in here. But yet, again, watch this, wait until it scrolls through. See, through the decades, go to turn it on, and oh. Okay, time's gone. It went to volume there for a second, but can you see the time's now gone? And if I leave it on there now, well, you see it's seized up. So I'd have to unplug it, plug it back in, but now if I leave this on, I don't think it will turn on. Yeah, can you see that? It doesn't turn on. Isn't that weird? So there's something to do with not just the on and off switch, the potentiometer at the front here, because when I disconnected the on and off switch part of it by lifting the tabs up, it's still played up. But when it's completely in this off position, it works. There you go. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I don't really know what to do. I think I'm going to have to unsolder this again. I'm wondering if I try to just connect up resistors between it. Or is it going back to a chip? I don't know. I need to trace where the potentiometer goes to. Right, I think I found another fault with it. So, I had it playing and I was using my speaker on the outputs here and nothing was happening. And then I put my speaker to the inputs here, what I thought was the inputs, and still nothing was happening. And then I thought, okay, they seem to be going up into this chip. And if you have a look, this should be the input to this chip here. And if you have a look at the voltage, there's no voltage getting into it. And we need 8 volts into this chip. So I've traced where it goes to. It goes through a couple of caps, but it also comes down this way into this thing here. And I'm wondering, is this the voltage regulator to send the voltage, the 8 volts, whatever it is, into this chip? So I'm going to take this off and check it out. Right, I'm definitely getting closer. So that was where that voltage regulator type thing was. I think it runs down here and it's fed from here. And look at the mess of that. I had to take it off. Look at the mess of that underneath it. Right, I definitely feel hopeful now. So this is the voltage regulator type thing. I haven't actually looked up what it is, but look, it goes across here. Then from here it goes to here. And then from here it should go to here. But it doesn't, but it goes to here. Now look at the corrosion here. So it doesn't go to there. And from there then, it goes the other side of the board. You see there's a couple of jumpers going up here, and look where it goes to. The main plus, but it's not getting there. So if you look here, that's not getting to there, which is not getting to there. So once I jumper from here to here, then hopefully that will then liven up a whole new power rail coming up here, which will go up and then feed this chip. So maybe the reason it was crashing is because this chip wasn't powered and it didn't know what to do. So yeah, I'm really hopeful now. I'm going to clean up all around here. Look at the corrosion on that one as well. So glad I took that off. So I'm going to fix all these things here and see then if it comes to life. So at long last, I feel that progress has definitely been made, and it makes sense, doesn't it? There's no voltage to that chip. So all we have to do is do some little jumper wires, try to fix up the pads a little bit. What I've done is I've just done little loops around one of the damaged pin holes and then done it to a trace, and I've just used a little bit of wire to jumper over where the corrosion was. So then I need to put the connector back on, and then when I do that, luckily there is continuity between where it should be, between the pins on the connector going up to where that voltage regulator is. Now I should use solder mask on this board because it would look more professional, and that's the thing you should use to cover up all the damage. The problem is I've got so much it will be drying for absolutely ages. So what I'm doing is just using nail varnish. I wish I had green nail varnish, but I haven't. I've just got pink reddish nail varnish because that's my favourite colour, and only joking. And yeah, it dries really quick, so I know it's not the best thing. It looks a complete mess, but this board is a complete mess. So at this stage now, I'm not spending another 2 hours with the UV light, moving it a millimetre at a time, trying to dry the UV mask, because this has got damage all over it. Anyway, I've done the work here now, so it's very late at night. Let's bring it into another room and do the testing. Okay, I've had to move rooms because it's 1:15 here in the morning. I've been on this for so many hours. Anyway, I haven't got it connected up to the mains. I've just got the battery side of it connected up, but that should work, shouldn't it? So let's see now. Please this time work. Surely it has to work now. There can't be any more damage to it. So let's plug this in. Anything going to come up on the screen? No. Okay, let's turn it on. Volume. Oh my god, I can hear the speakers. It's very quiet though. Let's go to mode. Service not available. But that is because there's no aerial. But look, the volume's working now. Yes, look, the volume's working. Look at that. Let's see if we get noise on FM. Come on. Yes! Noise! We've done it! I think we've done it. I just don't think it's picking up the signal because I've moved rooms. This house is bad for signal anyway, and there's no aerial connected, but we've got noise. Fantastic. Right, I am going to... Let me get an aux connection and connect it into my phone, see if it plays sound through the aux, and then I think we can put it back together. Okay, so I've got the little aux board connected up now, so if we turn it on and head over to aux, so oh, that sounds so good hearing that. There we go. Oh no, hold on. FM, there we go. Right, so now here we have the man himself, Phil the coder. Oh, listen to that.
I'm going to be looking at this Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I never thought I'd like to hear Phil's voice so much. Listen to that.
Troll. So, this Nintendo Switch was sent by a business that I do business to business.
How good is that? And that is definitely through the speakers. Yeah, so look, that's through the phone.
Unfortunately, this thing here was supposed to have no power. So I thought to myself, well, nice and easy.
Oh, fantastic.
Using an M92 or a charging port related issue. But unfortunately, this doesn't have no power.
Oh, I'm so
First
happy
of all,
with that.
You can see that
There we go. Wow. Okay, I've got a lot of making good to do. I've got to put a little bit more nail varnish. You know what? I think I'm going to buy some green nail varnish. I know it's better to use the solder mask, but this stuff dries so quick. So let me do all the neatening up. I need to clean it all with IPA. I need to put nail varnish on more places and stuff like that. How long it's going to last for, I don't know. I mean, as it starts to get used, maybe there's going to be more and more wires breaking. So I don't ever think this is going to be a very good one. But who knows? I mean, the water damaged MacBook Air that I did, the 2017 one, my daughter's using that pretty much every day, and it's still working absolutely fine. So you never know. Maybe once it's in and all screwed down and stuff, the bumps and stuff might be just on the outside, and maybe those wires will hold now that I've done the repairs on those. The others may not fail. I'm so happy with that because I nearly gave up so many times. Right, I'm going to put it all back together. Next time you're going to see it, hopefully it's going to be nice and clean, and I'm hoping it's all going to be working, including the time. I think that's what the batteries in the back are for. But maybe there is an issue with the battery here not putting up the time, because I'm pretty sure it should. But I can look into that anyway. So here we have it, and I've been messing around with it last night and also this morning, and it's working fine. Everything I've tested is fine. I've even tested a little USB port here, and it starts to charge my phone. It's a slow charger, so it will take a long time, but it all appears to be good. Now, the display only works when it's plugged into the mains. I presume that's because it needs to save the battery life rather than having that on all the time, but yet it stores all the presets. I put some DAB stations on presets here, and it stores them because of the batteries in the back. So that's what the batteries are in the back for, to store the settings off the radio. But yeah, I'll show you it quickly working on mains and also on the battery. Now obviously copyright, I can't play anything, but I'll just show you it turning on and a few sounds coming out. So we turn it on here, volume and everything's working, it goes nice and loud.
Still going strong. Hello Stephen, Kate and Kingsley. Angie and David.
There you go. And let's go to another preset. So that's preset 4. Let's go to preset. Let's go to BBC Radio 2. Enter. And now that will be working on BBC Radio 2. There we go. Now, mode. We've got FM. FM also works. And here, let's see if anything picks up. There we go, it's picked something up there. Right, and let's just put it onto aux just to keep it quiet. So yeah, that's it. And if I was to unplug it from here and then plug the battery into the back, it's working on battery as well. We have got a little snapped thing here, so I've just used a releasable cable tie so I can cable tie up the cord. But pop the battery in. And turn it on again. You can see that. Well, actually, do you know what? It's already on because of I didn't turn it off here. Right, and if I go to mode, just to quickly show you DAB working.
Kelly Jones. I'm in for the legend, Johnny Walker. So as a little band once said.
There we go. So it's It's got a fair bit of volume to it. I don't know if it would be lost on a building site with the volume though. You know, let's say if you were a scaffolder and if you had this quite a bit away from you, I'm not sure if it's loud enough for that. But if you were doing like loft conversions and stuff, working in a house, then it's ample loud for that. It seems to be a well-made thing. Now, I know it had water damage on it, but there's been a good attempt to make it waterproof. There's a rubber seal that goes all the way around the front here. I think it looks like a well-made product, and I think it could take the bumps and stuff pretty well. So, yeah, with this one, it was a nightmare fix, if I'm honest with you, and I don't think anybody else would really be doing it in real life because I had to sink too much time into it. I came this close so many times to giving up, but I can't tell you how nice a feeling it is when you know that, for example, a chip's not getting voltage and you're trying to trace the feed for it, but sometimes that feed can be going off in many different directions, and then eventually you see something, you see corrosion, you test for continuity and it's not there, and you just think, yes, brilliant. Now, annoyingly, that happened quite a few times on here because I had to repair numerous traces. But it is such a good feeling when you find something that you're looking for and then you see something that's corroded or broken and you run a little jumper wire and it all works again. So as far as money spent, there wasn't really any money spent on this. We're talking about tiny bits of wire and little bits of solder, but there was a ridiculous amount of time spent. And also, I had to sacrifice a screwdriver. Bit of an annoying design thing there where you have to have a Torx this long. Obviously, some people are going to have them, but it wouldn't be in most people's toolkit. So that's a little bit annoying because it kind of makes it unrepairable for the average builder who would have one of these. I'll see if my friend wants this one. I'll explain that it's badly damaged on the inside, and who knows, it might be on a revisit video at a later stage having to fix more wires, but that's fine. I've got into it now. I know the insides of it. It'll be a lot easier to fix next time. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a massive thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mountain laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and a hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things. Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, gold